we're very excited about the future of our programming efforts here at the park, and it's something that we're very intentional about, and we're excited about the growth of it in the future. And it's already began, right? So in the past few months, we've started monthly programming. One of the programs that we've started, and so what we like to say is Earth Day is every day at Memorial Park. So Earth
Yes,
and
definitely.
nature is woven into all of our events in some way, in some facet, because it's held in a park. So one of the events that we've started monthly is it's a meditation walk, and that is guided by Aprotein Chowdhury. He is certified in mind body medicine, and so the walk happens. They start at the Cullen Running Trail Center. They go on a different path every month, but he teaches different techniques. He teaches breathing techniques and being mindful of your environment, how that can impact your health. So each walk lasts about an hour to an hour and 20 minutes. And so we are hosting that on a monthly basis. It's free to the public. Anyone can join. You just look out for our website and social media channels to find out exactly what day that happens on. It usually starts around 10 a.m. and it's held on the weekends.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of Spotlight Houston, where we bring you the best of the people, places, and events in Houston. In honor of Earth Day, this week we sat down with Courtney Hall and Janelle Bludau from the Memorial Park Conservancy to discuss the city's biggest park. This is episode 84, with an original air date of Sunday, April 21st, 2024. And now your host, Blanca Quezada.
Welcome back to Spotlight Houston. I don't know about y'all, but I am getting ready to celebrate Earth Day. And I think you should too. It's a great way to learn more about our planet, take the time to go and learn a little bit more and to help our Earth out to help us survive. And really, actually, I think every day should be Earth Day. But as I mentioned, we need to be more aware of our environment. We can make a difference in the smallest ways. Maybe plant a tree, maybe a plant, feed a bird, or something like that. It's just little things that we can do that we don't realize that it's helping the earth, like I mentioned earlier, to survive. So here in Houston, we have a lot of beautiful spaces that we can go out there, beautiful parks, and they're a major part of our living experience. So here to tell us all about that is Courtney Hall. She is the manager. Welcome, Courtney. She's the manager of conservation operations. And also with me is Janelle Bludau. She is the director of communications and marketing for Memorial Park Conservancy. So welcome to the show. It's great to have you guys here.
Thanks for having us.
Can't wait to hear all that you have to say. Courtney, first of all, can we start out by saying or talking about the history of the park? Because I know it's been here in Houston for decades and it's really a very important space.
Sure. So in 1924, so 100 years ago, the park was gifted by Ima Hogg as a green space for the city of Houston. And about 12 years ago, the Conservancy was adopted for the stewardship of Memorial Park. And there are two other entities that are in Memorial Park, and that is the Houston Arboretum and Nature Center. They're in the southwest corner of Memorial Park. And there's also the Memorial Park Golf Course, which is in the middle of Memorial Park. All of the other amenities that are found in the park are stewarded by the Memorial Park Conservancy. To add, there are a fitness center and a tennis center and some sports fields that are stewarded and maintained by Houston Parks Board and Recreation Department. So whenever you're coming to Memorial Park, you might be experiencing a variety of different places. And what we'll be speaking to today is the areas that Memorial Park Conservancy is charged to steward. So what a part of our history is that the Conservancy worked together with several partners, including Uptown Development, Houston Parks and Recreation, to create a master plan. And this master plan was not in a closed box. It was a very open system with panels and input and from the Houstonians. The master plan was also a result of better understanding of the park after the 2012 drought. This drought started in 2010 and lasted through about 2012, impacted many parts of the state. And part of that impact was seen across Memorial Park. After witnessing the impacts of that drought, the master plan was created in a way to not only reconnect park users to the park, but also to reconnect the park to the original habitats and ecosystems that were here long before man was here, long before the railroad was here, long before Houston was what we think about whenever we think of Houston.
It was
And
just
that
a lot of wild fields, right?
exactly. So it was Gulf Coast prairie. That was the predominant ecosystem throughout the Gulf Coast. This part of the Gulf Coast that goes through Houston was the Gulf Coast prairie. And of course, there were also some ripe features. So trees and shrubs along the bayou systems. And within the Gulf Coast prairies, you would have wetlands or wet meadows that could be found throughout that type of ecosystem.
Oh, that's great. Also, I was just thinking that it's a very historical park as well, especially for African Americans because of the African American soldiers that were stationed at Memorial Park at one time.
That's right. There is so much rich history that is present and that we can try to discuss in the conservancy, or there's moments in our capital master plan projects where we can learn about this history. So whether that history is from Camp Logan, whether that history is the trail riders that come through, or whether that history is learning about the different types of soldiers that were here and training, that can be found throughout the park and throughout our different 10-year projects that have been built.
So the Camp Logan is open to the public now?
The whole area where Camp Logan was, it spanned throughout the park and then even outside of the 610. Our next capital project is Memorial Groves, and that project is going to focus on the history and the stories of Camp Logan, and that that is an upcoming project.
How is it that you keep the park so beautiful, even
Well,
in during the dry seasons?
thank you for that compliment. Really, our team is out working every day. They are working to help maintain and operate the park in the spaces where we have our native ecosystem. So whether that's the Gulf Coast prairie or a savanna or a forest, our main goal is to plant well adapted native species. And those species, while they might look stressed at certain times, especially during a dry period, those species are adapted to be resilient in our Houston climate. And once normal weather patterns return, their vigor and greenness and their flowers will be showcased throughout the park.
Yeah, it's beautiful. So did you have to bring in a lot of animals that are, I can think of the word right now, but that like the wetlands and or I know birds is impossible maybe to bring in, but other little critters?
So that's a good question. So fortunately, this green space, over 1,100 acres, that is Memorial Park Conservancy space, has already been a shelter and a habitat for our native animal species, including coyotes, armadillos, raccoons, and turtles and snakes, and also the birds, and of course, insects like bumblebees and butterflies.
Mhm.
Whenever we have built and designed our different 10-year master plan projects, again, we're using those native plants so that those animals have habitat and shelter, but most importantly, food. So they're eating the berries, they're eating the seed, they're eating the tops of the grasses and flowers. And that's those native plants were adapted to withstand that herbivory, the eating, and those our native animals have adapted with those plants. And so they were already here. They
Mhm.
just now have more space to find their food and find their shelter.
Are you making sure that these little animals are staying healthy?
Fortunately, the animals, they're so resourceful. They are finding the different berries and seeds that they need to. And we have top predators like hawks and coyotes. And we also have those lower in the food chain. And we have plenty of squirrels and rabbits and armadillos and possums. And it's very apparent throughout the park to you while you might not always encounter one of these mammals, you're probably going to see signs. You're going to see little footprints, maybe in a muddy area, or you might see where they've been digging in the dirt. So there's definitely signs of healthy animals in the
Yeah.
park.
Sorry, I was going to say, did you want to talk about the critter crossing that was created just for these little guys?
Sure. One of the master plan projects, the Kinderland Bridge and Sylvia and Melvin Wolf Prairie, has three different ways for animals to cross, and it has two different ways for people to cross. So these ways are over the east and the west mound. Both humans and animals can choose to go across. Humans can stay on the sidewalk and go across, and the animals, of course, can scurry wherever they want. They're likely scurrying in the vegetation where they feel a bit sheltered and safer.
And
Then
it's beautiful,
underneath,
beautiful area.
thank you, those tops of the mountains, you can get some good views in the city and also just the surrounding area. And
And
then
the
going
stars, as you mentioned before.
exactly, and the stars and the eclipse that just happened a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, yeah,
It was a
yeah.
good time.
Perfect place. And of course, if we see any of these little animals, don't get near them, right?
That's right. We want to live in our urban wilderness in a way that is helping these animals and not causing them to have fear or feel that they are endangered.
Yeah. I know
And
little kids get really excited and they want to run after them and touch them, but that's not
yeah,
a good idea.
I can definitely understand. I have many nieces and nephews, and I know that they really love that interaction with birds or and other animals. So I recommend if you're bringing your kids to the park, pack a pair of binoculars and just let them experience nature from a safe space,
Mhm.
including our many miles of sidewalks and natural surface trails.
Yeah. And what is NPC's BioCycle? I've heard of that. What is it?
So, NBC's BioCycle is an area of the park where we have been able to reuse our trees. These trees have been taken down because they were stressed out. Some of these trees may have also been taken down for building these different capital projects, a part of our 10-year master plan. And so instead of this very important material, biomaterial, instead of it going to waste, we're reusing it. And we're reusing it by chipping it up to make smaller wood pieces. And this will make mulch. We can also turn it and add in other plant material. Like whenever we are working and maintaining our spaces in the park, a lot of the times we're pulling weeds. And those weeds can also be used in our mulch and compost this BioCycle area. And the product is then reused out in the park. So we can use this mulch or compost to provide as a weed barrier. And it also provides nutrition for the soil that then helps those native plants grow. Mulch and compost are great ways to help add in different microorganisms like fungus and bacteria. And those small organisms are very helpful to develop the soil below ground community to help create a very healthy, thriving plant.
Yeah. Do you also have artists that come in that maybe want to get some of these trees that are dried up or drying up and dying?
We I don't know if you've had that request yet, have you, Courtney? But we actually, it's funny that you asked that because we just recently started trying. We have an employee on our staff that is actually making art out of some of these trees that are no longer, they were posing a threat to the public. So they had to be taken down. So he's been carving wood. He's been carving art into the stump. So I don't know if you've actually seen, there's been a little bit of news lately. He's been carving mushrooms and he carved a chair. He's very talented. Like the secret talent that he didn't know he had. But we've been featuring him a little bit on our social media and we continue. I think he continues. He's one of Courtney's staff members, but I think he continues to really expand upon that talent that he didn't know he
Yeah,
had. So
he
it's
does
very
great
neat.
work. He does great
Mhm.
work. And I'm sure
He's
that
giving
a lot of
giving it
the
new life,
artists
which is neat. Sorry.
yeah, no, I'm sure that a lot of artists also use wood as well, and I'm sure they would take that wood from you if they could. Anyway, the irrigation practices that you have are also amazing because you've got water coming in from different sources. And do you also use some of the water from the arboretum for some of the plants around there?
Our water is that we're using for irrigation doesn't come from the Arboretum. In the Eastern Glades, which was one of our master plan projects that opened in 2020, we use water from the Hines Lake, which is a 5-acre lake right in the heart of the Eastern Glades. And so our irrigation systems that are watering our lawn, that is a great place for a picnic or to just enjoy reading a book or for bird watching. And also our native garden beds, those are using water that's coming from the lake. And that helps us to reduce how much city water we're using around the park.
How do you encourage park visitors to conserve, the park and everything that they see? A lot of people will see the beautiful, like the bluebonnets or these wildflowers, and they want to go and touch them. Is that okay? Is that appropriate?
So, for the best park user experience, again, we recommend that all park users stay on the sidewalks and to help the future park user come, even the future park user that comes in a year, we would prefer that our park users just enjoy and observe with their eyes the many different plant species that have beautiful flowers so that other people can enjoy them on their next visits.
Yeah, because a lot of people also like some of those plants and they want to take them home and they pull them out by the root. And I understand that's understandable, but we need to preserve them. We need to preserve them. Is there
Mhm.
anything else that you would ask the public to do for you for the Conservancy?
Sure. For our park users that come to the park, there are a couple ways that you can, there are a couple ways that a park user can help the conservancy. They can bring their own water bottle that can be filled up at our various water stations. They can make sure that their trash and other waste is going into our mini trash cans found throughout the park. And if they could also use the bus system to visit the park, we have over 12 different bus stops found throughout the park. And then if they want some added exercise, they could also get around the park by our BioCycle bike rentals that are found in 2 locations in the park. And then another important and interactive thing for park users to do is to download eBird or iNaturalist. These are apps that you can download on your phone. They are great community science data applications. And as you're observing and wanting to remember the bluebonnet or the sunflower that you're seeing or the bluebird that you just saw, you can take a picture and then that data is used within these different applications. And that's another great way to be a part of our park experience.
So it's a great way to record and document what you're seeing.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Is there any research being done at the park right now with the plants and the little animals?
Yes. So at the park, not only do we use those community science data applications, eBird and iNaturalist, but our team also goes out to monitor. They're monitoring what plants are in the prairies and the forests and the native landscape beds. We also have game cameras that are in the park, and these are a great way for us to understand the mammals and sometimes birds that are using the park. And also, Houston Audubon does a bird walk the first Mondays of the month. And all of that data is very helpful for us to understand how the animals are using the park and what types of plants that we have throughout. And we're able to monitor and document this and understand how our conservation practices, how our 10-year master plan projects are helping to increase biodiversity for this green space in Houston.
Yeah, most of us are just enjoying the park and not realizing that there's so much going on in the background to keep the park looking so beautiful. Yeah. You also have a lot of joggers in the park. How do you keep that space wide enough or clean enough for so many people?
That's a great question. We do have a lot of users of our Seymour Lieberman Trail, and our park operations teams works really hard to make sure that this trail is de-littered, that it is freshened up with extra additions of decomposed granite or DG. That's the stuff that's being run on. And we have, think it happened in 3 cycles, but because of the Eastern Glades Capital 10-year project and the addition of the SLT bridges and the Land Bridge and Prairie project that happened, we were able to take 1 mile of the SLT that was along Memorial Drive, a very fast moving, heavily trafficked 3-lane road, and we moved about a mile of the SLT off of Memorial Drive to give our park users more immersive experience in our forest. And that trail stayed between 10 to 12 feet wide so that all users, like strollers, our very dedicated fast runners, and our meandering and meditating strollers, the opportunity to have this space that's wide enough and enjoyed by all.
Has the climate or the pollution changed the park very much?
While we don't look directly at pollution data or climate data and how that's impacting the park, I will say that, again, our different capital projects and our day to day operations are trying to be a part of the solution and are trying to build resiliency so that in a changing climate, our native ecosystems are being resilient and can withstand our very harsh climate that is in this area of Texas.
Janelle, people love going to the park and being in the park. Is the park, the conservancy, going to start working on programs for
Yes.
adults and kids?
Yeah, so it's something that we're very excited about the future of our programming efforts here at the park, and it's something that we're very intentional about, and we're excited about the growth of it in the future. And it's already began, right? So in the past few months, we've started monthly programming. One of the programs that we've started, and so what we like to say is Earth Day is every day at Memorial Park. So Earth
Yes,
and
definitely.
nature is woven into all of our events in some way, in some facet, because it's held in a park. So one of the events that we've started monthly is it's a meditation walk, and that is guided by Aproteam Chowdhury. He is certified in mind body medicine, and so the walk happens. They start at the Cullen Running Trail Center. They go on a different path every month, but he teaches different techniques. He teaches breathing techniques and being mindful of your environment, how that can impact your health. So each walk lasts about an hour to an hour and 20 minutes, and so we are hosting that on a monthly basis. It's free to the public. Anyone can join. You just look out for our website and social media channels to find out exactly what day that happens on. It usually starts around 10 a.m. and it's held on the weekend. So that's one of the events. That's the meditation walk. And then we've also partnered with Girl Trek Houston. Girl Trek is a global movement of Black women to get out in nature by walking. And so that is also a monthly event. And it's geared towards Black women, but it's open to anyone and everyone. It's like I said, it's focused on getting out in nature and getting active They also meet at the Cullen Running Trail Center. They actually walk for 2 hours from 7:30 to 9:30. And also their paths also vary. So it'll take you into different parts of the park wherever they decide to go that month. One of the final monthly events that we already have established, like I said, there's more coming in the future, and we're very excited about that, is a star party. So we've
Yes.
started these stargazing parties. And for that, we have a retired astronomer who works with the Houston Astronomical Society. He comes out, he offers his guidance, his knowledge, his telescope, free to the, all of these events are free to the public. Anyone can join, but he'll bring them out. It's in Eastern Glades, Play Family Eastern Glades right now. That's when it happens. And it's once a month. But if it's cloudy, he also brings out his technology called Stellarium, where even if the clouds are covering up the stars, you can see what's above you through a computer screen so that even the clouds don't keep the star party away. So that's from 7:30 to 10 p.m. monthly. That lasts about 2.5 hours. So that's also, it's really just, that's more of an educational one as well. So people can become more familiar with their night skies, an opportunity to use a telescope when not a lot of people have telescopes at home. And looking forward to the future, we're really just excited about introducing hopefully, some more wellness programs and then definitely educational programs. So stay
Yeah.
tuned. We're very excited about that, like I said, and we're going to we announce all of that through our social media and our website channels.
Yeah. I know
Come
the
visit.
star party is a lot of fun for kids. So do you have any special programs coming up soon for just for kids?
Stay tuned. I know that there's conversations happening right now for that. And yes, definitely.
So just keep checking your website.
Keep checking. Yes. We're
What
very
is the
excited about it.
website address anyway?
It's memorialparkconservancy.org.
Okay. Courtney, thank you so much for being here, for joining me. And Janelle, thank you as well. Learned a lot more about the park. And definitely Earth Day is every day at the park. So again, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you. Thank you for having us. Thank you, Courtney, too. Thank you.
And of course, thank you all for joining me for this edition of Spotlight Houston. And if you have any comments, please let me know. And if you have any story ideas, please get in touch.
Hello, everyone. I'm Gabby, your AI host. Thanks for joining us on today's episode of Spotlight Houston. Today, we've taken a closer look at Memorial Park, a true natural gem in the heart of our city. It's not just a park, it's a place where the community, history, and nature blend beautifully to create a space for everyone to enjoy. And it's all just a stone's throw from downtown Houston. Courtney and Janelle from the Memorial Park Conservancy shared some fascinating insights about the park's extensive history. And they talked about the innovative efforts they're leading to enhance this urban oasis. With initiatives like the BioCycle program and the bike share system, they're not just preserving the park, they're transforming it into a sustainable space that educates and inspires. Earth Day is this week, and it reminds us of our duty to protect our environment. The Conservancy takes this to heart, working every day to ensure that the park serves as a model of ecological and community stewardship. Whether it's through restoring native habitats or implementing robust recycling practices, their work is a testament to what it means to care for our planet year-round. They also gave us a sneak peek into some of the exciting programs designed to connect people with nature. From meditation walks that calm the mind to girl trek adventures that energize the body and educational programs that enlighten the spirit, Memorial Park is a place where health and wellness meet. And let's not forget about the upcoming summer programs for both kids and adults. There's always something new to look forward to. If today's episode has inspired you and you find yourself wanting to give back or get involved, the Memorial Park Conservancy welcomes all hands. Volunteering, donating, or simply participating in their programs are great ways to contribute to the park's legacy. Be sure to visit their website at memorialparkconservancies.org to catch all the latest updates and details on how you can become part of the park's vibrant community. Join us every Sunday right here on Spotlight Houston as we continue to explore the stories of the people, places, and events that showcase the energy and spirit of our great city. We love hearing from our listeners, so if you have any feedback or ideas for future episodes, please reach out. Follow us on social media to stay connected with all things Houston. And if you enjoyed today's episode, please leave us a rating or a review on your favorite podcatcher. Thanks again for listening, and we look forward to bringing you more exciting stories next week. Until then, take care and keep exploring. And remember, Spotlight Houston is a production of Story Zone Media.